Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev is coming up very, very quick, and this is such a tough fight to predict. I'm going to give my breakdown and prediction for this fight. Before we get into it, I just want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's talk about Volkanovski versus Makhachev. So, here's my big problem with it, okay? Volkanovski and Makhachev, they are both so good. When they say this is for the #1 pound for pound, I am all for it. I truly believe this is for the #1 pound for pound fight. You have Volkanovski, who I think is on his way to be the greatest of all time. If not, he's already there, at least in the consideration for GOAT status. And this is why I kind of don't want to see this fight, is because if he loses to Makhachev, then I wouldn't necessarily consider him one of the greatest of all times, but I respect what he's doing completely. Obviously, the big problem is Volkanovski is incredibly undersized, but the thing is, Volkanovski is usually a little bit undersized. I say he's a little bit more undersized than usual, maybe a little bit more than a little bit more, if that makes sense. But the problem is, it hasn't stopped him in the past. He's always been able to get to his opponents. He's always been able to dominate his opponents. Will Islam Makhachev be the guy that is too big for him? And Volkanovski, I made a whole video talking about this. Volkanovski, I am so behind him in the sense where his confidence level is almost convincing me that he's going to win this fight. Everything in my brain says he's going to lose this fight, but at the same time, I'm listening to all these interviews that Alexander Volkanovski is doing, and all he keeps saying is, I'm not going to panic. I'm prepared for everything. I've been training with hard grapplers. I've been training harder than I ever have in my life. He's going to grab me, and he's going to realize that I'm a brick wall. And if he does take me down, which he's expecting to get to the ground, I'm expecting him to take me to the ground is what he's saying. I'm going to not panic. I'm going to get back up, and then he's going to be like, oh, crap. I can't hold this guy on the ground. I can't do what I've done to everybody else with Alexander Volkanovski. It's tough. The guy is so confident in himself that he's almost convinced me. Plus, when has Alexander Volkanovski had a close fight besides the Max Holloway fight? And even then, he's 3-0 against Max Holloway. I think he even won the second fight. He has destroyed everybody going up against him. Obviously, his confidence level is just absolutely soaring. But my brain's always telling me, confidence isn't enough to win the fight. But, is there going to be a point where somebody beats Alexander Volkanovski? I think it's going to be this. This is the big problem. Islam Makhachev is Islam Makhachev. I wasn't convinced of him when he was coming onto the scene. Of course, not a lot of us were really convinced of Islam Makhachev. But what that guy just did to Charles Oliveira, I am completely on board with it. He completely dismantled Charles Oliveira, who was looking like a Terminator. He was unstoppable, seemingly unstoppable. It was to the point where I would have chose Charles Oliveira over Khabib Nurmagomedov. I really would have. And now that fight maybe would have went the same way as Makhachev, but Makhachev is significantly better on the feet than Khabib ever was. Point is, ever since that fight, I am completely on the Islam Makhachev hype train. All I see in this fight is I can see him. Here's how I predict the fight's going to go, okay? Volkanovski, he's trained his ground game. It's going to be really good. I actually see this fight going a little bit at the beginning of the fight like we saw with Khabib versus Conor. Islam's going to rush in, try to take him down, and Volkanovski's going to have this great defense. So we're going to have all these moments of the viewers watching it. We're going to be like, no way. He's actually defending against wrestling just like Conor did against Khabib. And they had these wonderful scrambles. Conor tried to sweep him. Volkanovski's probably going to do the same thing. Volkanovski may even get back up to his feet for a moment. But then after a minute or two of scrambling, Islam is going to flatten him out and actually take him down to the ground and hold him there. And I believe he's going to get a sub in the first round. That's how I see this fight going. But again, something about Alexander Volkanovski's confidence level is convincing me to not bet against him, but I want to. I'm going to have a parlay on this fight card. I'm probably going to choose Islam Makhachev, but it's so tough. It's so tough, and I'm trying so hard to not get in my brain in the sense where I want Alexander Volkanovski to win because that would be super cool. Then, if he wins this fight, he's pound for pound #1. He is the greatest of all time in my eyes. He is the greatest fighter in history, Alexander Volkanovski, if he beats Islam Makhachev. I don't think that's going to happen at all, but even if this... Okay, let's say that he does stand up Alexander Volkanovski. We know Islam can fight for a long time with absolutely insane pressure. How's Volkanovski going to look when he doesn't have to cut the weight? Maybe he's going to have a little bit of extra muscle on him and maybe a little bit extra mass on him. We don't know if he's going to be nearly as quick. We don't know if he's going to gas. History dictates that he'll be okay. But still, it's a big change moving to the 155-pound division when he's so used to fighting in one division. That's a question mark that I don't like. But Alexander Volkanovski, I have a feeling he's going to look okay. And even if he does keep this fight on the feet, I have a very hard time seeing him even just completely outpunting Islam Makhachev. The reach is surprisingly very similar. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know it's it's near even the reach, which again was very surprising to me because Volkanovski's really undersized. So the dude has some pretty long arms for his size. Anyways, it's tough, man. It's such a tough fight because you don't know how they're going to match up. Islam's striking is improving every single fight, and Volkanovski himself is improving every single time we see him. Each time we see these guys get into the octagon together, we see both of them improve. It's ridiculous, and this is a harder fight to predict than it is. The problem is there's so many question marks. There's so many I don't knows everywhere where you look at the fight. But ultimately, my prediction is Islam Makhachev is going to get a first-round submission, but I'm honestly not too sure about that. If you had a gun to my head and say, how's this fight going to go? That's what I'm saying. I have a hard time after seeing what Islam Makhachev did to Charles Oliveira. I have a very hard time not seeing him do the same thing to Alexander Volkanovski. I feel like this is going to be almost purely dominance, with the first exchange of the wrestling offering a little bit of resistance on Volkanovski's end. But again, ultimately, he's going to get him down. He's going to get the submission. That's my prediction, but I hope Alexander Volkanovski wins because that would just be so cool, and he would solidify himself as the greatest fighter of all time. So I'll leave it up to you guys. I want to know what you think. Do you think I'm crazy in my prediction? How do you think Alexander Volkanovski is going to look at 155? There's so many question marks. Tell me what you think about this fight. Breakdown for the fight for me in the comment section if you have time. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. If you are new here and enjoy the content, please consider the like button will help the channel a ton, and subscribe if you are brand new. Check description down below for links to all my other channels, and if you want to hear more fight talk about anything MMA related, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching again, guys. I will see you in the next one. Take care.